What a sad day. Markets are bullish today. 2 weeks in a row. Fridays are the days for the bulls. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. And like we talked about it yesterday, CPI data report or the CPI inflation report was released today. And markets responded in a positive way. Rightfully so, though, right? We talked about it in our live trading session with the LPP team today. Remember, markets sold off yesterday. If you look at the 5-minute time frame, it's very easy to see the sell-off. 600 tends to be a common support range for QQQ. It looks like markets were eager to find a support. They broke above the EMA on the 30-minute and began to indicate signs of an uptick. This wasn't really at like market open. We're just showing a lot of consolidation, testing the same highs of right around 603, same lows of like 598, 597. Then we finally broke above that structure and then NASDAQ began to uptick. Do markets look incredibly bullish overall in the larger time frames? Of course not, right? You guys could see that we've been seeing a lot more consolidation. It's a great day today based off of the news that was released. The CPI data report is positive. That's exactly what we shared in our live trading session today. Don't fight the trend in the sense of if markets are pushing up, or no, before when markets were consolidating and the idea of like, hey, can markets push up? Yes, right? Now that they've become a little bit overbought, you can kind of entertain the idea of like an overbought reversal if you have experience and you know how to short. But I definitely would not do this if you're a beginner and you're just trying to trade against the trend. Honestly, it's not a favorable thing, right? So congratulations to all those that went long overnight. Like we shared with you guys, our job is when we do take shorts to close them out every day because taking a short does come at a greater form of risk. The CPI data inflation report came in at 2.4% when the expectation was 2.5%, coming in lower than what was expected. This means that, again, when we're closer to the 2% target from the Federal Reserve, this means that the Federal Reserve is more likely to possibly cut interest rates. And that's why the market is excited, rightfully so, right? So it's an intraday positive catalyst, and it earned it. It really did. Some people are pointing the finger and saying, hey, this isn't a true CPI data report. There's still 2 months that are missing because the CPI report is based off of the last 12 months. And because of the previous government shutdown, October and November are not factored in. So that is one thing that I want to highlight. I'm not going to be like the conspiracy theorist and be like, well, that's not a real inflation report. No, it's real and it's what's getting factored in because it's what we have to go off of. But I want you to know that, yeah, we're at 2.4%. without 2 months being factored in. So when you do celebrate this relatively low inflation rate, celebrate it with the understanding of 2 months out of the 12 months are missing. And remember, the CPI report is based off of the last 12 months. So you're missing a portion of the data. Now, I really hope we don't enter a government shutdown, but a lot of you guys are hearing the news that there's over a 60% probability that tomorrow, Valentine's Day, we could possibly enter a government shutdown. How is this going to cause or impact the overall market? We'll see. There are times that markets react in a negative way, but then by the time that the markets close the following day, they fully recover. Honestly, markets never really cared too much about government shutdowns, especially when they're overall very bullish. It all has to do more with the overall macro outlook. Is there fear in the market? And if there is, then yes, a government shutdown can create more panic and more selling pressure. If there isn't much fear, then again, it's not really something that I would carry or care too much about. The big focus that I would have as of right now is asking yourself your exposure, right? As markets are pushing up, do you think that they're going to continue to uptick, or is this possibly a setup for a lower high and a lower low? And if you think that we could be going lower, it's not to drive panic and that you need to sell your entire position. It's just, again, a great reminder to not be leveraged at overbought levels, especially with speculative assets. The thing that I wanted to share with you guys is a lot of people, I'm going to talk about this on Instagram because I thought it was beautifully said. This is from Adam Koo. He says, if Apple shares dropped to near $1 or $0, I would buy up all the shares, own 100% of the company, fire Tim Cook, and make myself chairman and CEO. I would collect $112 billion in net profits that it makes every single year, and all of my friends would get free iPhones and MacBooks for life. If BTC dropped to $0, because that's a common thing that's being shared right now, people are saying that they would buy it all. Well, okay, you buy up all the Bitcoin in the world. What are you going to do? Stare at cute computer software or code? the difference between a productive asset and a non-productive asset. I thought that was so beautifully said because it is true. You cannot compare one versus the other. There's one that's an extreme speculative asset known as Bitcoin or crypto. It does nothing. Versus they like to compare it to Nvidia or Apple and some of the Mag 7 stocks. This is a business. And when you buy shares of a business, you're buying a business that generates profit. And it's because you see value in the long-term growth of that business and how some of them can pay dividends and how that company can continue to grow in value as it produces more business, more revenue, and more profits that are obviously shared to shareholders. That is the big difference between Apple and Bitcoin. And I thought it was beautifully said. And just so you guys could see, although some speculative assets are down 99%, 96%, like Trump coin, Melania coin, Fart coin is down 93%, MicroStrategy is down 77%, Coinbase is down 68%, Ethereum, Bitcoin right around 50 to 60%. Again, the least speculative assets are down S&P 500, 2%, Apple, 9%, Nvidia, 12%, Google, 12%, gold, 13%, Tesla, 17%. Again, it's always the most speculative assets that will experience the hardest retracement first. If we do enter a bear market, then yeah, the speculative assets will only sell off further. This is a great reminder to not be over leveraged at overbought levels, especially if you expect more of a potential downturn, right? So now that we talked about that, I think that we're in a good position for the weekend. Markets saw a really nice recovery. Hopefully this encourages you to, if you maybe took too large of a position, this could be a place where you can exit if you want to, or maybe this is a place where you want to add more because you think markets are going to go higher. Coinbase is a great example. This thing baffles me. Coinbase reported a net loss of $600 million yesterday. And yet the stock is up 17% today. You literally cannot make this stuff up. But again, Coinbase is up 17% while reporting negative earnings. Yet you have companies like Apple and Amazon and Google that exceeded expectation. They make billions of dollars in net profits. And guess what? They actually sold off after earnings. This is to show you that, again, speculation is still present in this market, but you just need to be good at identifying the difference between a good investment versus a trade. In my opinion, a good investments are the QQs, the SPYs, Apple, Amazon, and it's not that those can't sell off, but there's a reason that Coinbase was down 68% yesterday, right? From all-time highs. And it's because, again, when speculative assets begin to fall apart, they crash hard. You won't really experience that type of downturn in such a short period of time with good quality companies. Not that that's wrong, because again, with speculative companies, you could make a really great return within a very short period of time. But the question to ask yourself is, at what cost? What's the risk? If you can tolerate it, again, you're an adult, you can do whatever it is that you want. But if you're a beginner and you're just trying to build your understanding of investing versus trading, be mindful of your position size, be mindful of your leverage, don't use leverage, and don't be afraid to manage risk. I wish you guys nothing but the best. I hope to see you for Monday's live trading session. I trade live every single morning at market open with our beginner traders. Whenever it is that you're ready, it's the second link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.